Ready?
I'm ready. Alright, so now we've done our check of the steps and we're going into the bus. And on the inside of the bus, we're going to do a few things. First off, you can start different areas, but I like to start with just checking our emergency equipment for passengers. We want to make sure that we have a bodily fluids kit, which we do. This box right inside of here has 3 safety triangles that we would set out behind the bus in case we broke down the side of the road at very specific intervals as per the DOT regulations. We have a fire extinguisher, and the fire extinguisher is in the green zone. We have a full first aid safety kit as well. Alright, so then from there we want to look at our windshield and make sure we don't have any issues. And here we happen to have a spider crack and a little crack over here, but these do not take it out of service. Check the other windshield half, it's in good shape. Looking at our mirrors and see when we sit down in the seat, we'll make sure we look at those and that those are in alignment for us, that we can see well. So then moving through the bus for our inspection, we're going to be looking at the floor, making sure that the floor, the rubber on the floor and the metal strips are held down, not loose, so we don't have any trip hazards. Then we're going to go through the bus and we're going to check all the seat backs and the seat bottoms. Make sure that they're firmly connected. Give them a little shake. And go through all the way down. And then check the bottoms. Make sure that everything is firmly connected. Alright, so then we'll take our keys. We're getting a little closer to startup. Put our keys in the ignition. So one of the things I'm looking at while sitting here in the seat, I'm looking at each one of the front mirrors that shows us the front of the bus, making sure that I like their position. Looking at the side mirrors, both passenger side, driver side, that I can see clearly down the sides of the bus. Looking at the fisheye lens mirrors, making sure they're also both in good condition and all is well there. So now I'm at the point where I can start the bus. Basically, it's almost better to just go to accessory. And with accessory, then I can do some other checks here before I start the bus. One is the fan for the driver. Make sure it works on high and low. I want to check for defrost. So I will, there's my right side heater. My left side heater comes on. Feel the air coming out. Passenger heaters in the back. And that one's not coming on, not a big deal.
Is that a passenger heater?
Passenger heater for the left side doesn't seem to come on. The inside lights, I just turned those on. Make sure that those light. And then we don't have a crossing arm anymore, and we don't have the warning lights anymore, so we don't use those. We're also going to check the windshield wipers and see that they both come on. And then also that the fluid pumps for cleaning the windshield wipers. So
that's pulling or pushing on the knobs there?
They're
or twisting?
Twisting.
So pull out is turning them on.
No, actually, rotation to the right is turning them on.
Okay.
All the way to the left is off.
And then back further to the left is fluid.
And the fluid is pushing in.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it should stop because I got it off. Yeah.
Okay.
There's the clean. So the other thing is one of these is, this is defroster.
Which one?
There. This one, what's that one? This one right here.
Okay.
This is windshield defroster. We want to make sure we check that we have air blowing out here.
Okay.
Then, the other thing that we can do now is do our light check. We have our accessories. See our emergency door all the way in the back, and that 1 is clearly marked. 2, the red light is coming on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. One thing that doesn't seem to be happening is the marker light on the steps isn't currently working, so we just want to make a note of that for the mechanic. If we find something that's not working. We also want to talk about the bus has fuse breakers, and that we do have spare breakers in a bag in our box up there. You have to mention that. So then additionally, we'll make sure that in the driver's zone we don't have any kind of trip hazards or issues. So at this point we can start the bus, and this is a fuel shutoff. So if that was out, the bus won't start. The bus has to have this pushed in to allow the fuel to get to the engine.
Okay. Do you ever use the fuel shutoff for any
To turn off the bus.
Oh, okay.
The bus won't shut off unless you pull the fuel shutoff out.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll be able to turn it off and take the key out, and it'll keep running.
Okay.
I'll show that to you. But so this has to be in, and then we'll go to start the bus. If the bus doesn't attempt to start, it's an issue with just kind of jiggling the handle, but it should just start.
Making sure it's in neutral.
Yep, make sure it's in neutral before I go start it. It actually won't even try to start if it's not in neutral.
Okay.
So one of the things when we first start the bus is we look at all the gauges. We look at our volts, make sure we're in a good zone, check our fuel gauge, we check our RPMs, our temperatures. Now we just happen to be using the bus, so our temperature is up, but what we would be saying in a test is we're watching the needle rise and watching it come up to temperature. Our oil pressure, it's important that we make sure we always maintain oil pressure. Right now we're at 40 psi, which is good. It'll increase as we give throttle to the engine. So one of the things we can do now, if we had a helper, the helper would go outside and look at the running lights and the turn signals and tail lights, and talk about how that gives us a thumbs up and tell us try the right turn signal. So we can do that from in the seat right here, and we can see that our indicator flashes right. We turn our left turn signal, our indicator flashes left. We have our lights on right now, and we have a high beam indicator comes on. And then there's something called a four-way, which is our hazard.
Where's the high beam?
The high beam is lifting up the lever.
Those are lights. Okay.
Yep. So that'll give you and then our four-way hazards are right underneath the turn signal. Little tiny square button. Push that in, and now our four-ways are on. And we can see in our mirrors our front four-ways and our two side markers are also flashing at the same time. So we know that that's good there. Now if we were alone, we'd go outside of the bus, we'd walk around and check those lights. We have a helper, they can help you with that particular test. So then now with the bus running, the ignition on, we can check that our emergency buzzers work for our patches. And how we do that, and that would indicate somebody's opened the emergency exit.
Good.
We want to make sure that works for the side windows.
And the back as
for the
well.
hatches, and for the back, we want to make sure we check both hatches that they're firmly secured and that they are locked. And we want to show that we open the rear door, and the engine's running, and we get that buzzer. And we're kind of nearing completion on the pre-trip inspection.
On the pre-trip inspection, when you're testing, do you actually have somebody check the lights, or you just say that that's what you're doing?
No, the tester person will leave you in the driver's seat, and then ask you the question, what lights, I'm going to go out and check the lights for you, and what lights would you like me to check? And you say, well, I'd like you to check the headlights, the high beams, left turn, right turn, brake, tail lights, and all my marker lights all the way around, and backup lights. And so then you just kind of talk back and forth out the window, and signals through the back, and then they come back and tell you what lights are not working, and so then you would do that. The other thing you want to make sure you do, because it's worth a whole point, make sure you beep the horn before you're done with your pre-trip inspection. Other thing we talked about is, your rear view mirror is adjusted and that everything is firmly bolted down, and at that point you're pretty much ready to go for your driving portion of the test. So The other thing that we would have done was had you step all the way in and we close the door and show that it closes all the way. This bus isn't designed for anybody to be standing during operation. If it was, and you don't really have to sit through the test, there'd be a line here. It'd be called standee line. And we'd have handholds. We don't have that. So my tester tried to stay standing for the next test, which I'll have you get on and we'll do a brake test real quick, and I'll show you what that is.
Okay.
And I asked her to please take a seat because my bus wasn't equipped for standing people while in motion. So come on to the bus, and we'll go through the brake test real quick. So I'm just going to close the door, and you can stay right there. It's fine for the most part. So the first brake test is pump the brake 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the 5th we hold it down, and we're feeling to see if our foot falls down, and it doesn't. If it fell while doing this, then the bus wouldn't be safe to use. This is a test we do because the bus is a hydraulically operated brake bus. If it was an air brake bus, it'd be a completely different brake check all on its own, but this is hydraulic, so we're good. The next thing is the parking brake is on when it's in this down position. So we want to make sure that parking brake works. To do so, we put the bus in drive and we attempt to take off, and the bus doesn't move. So put it back into neutral. Now we're going to do a moving test, and the moving test, I'm not going to really do it, but I would release the parking brake, put it in drive, go 5 miles an hour, and then basically stand on the brake to come to a fast stop. And I'd be checking, does it pull to the right, does it pull to the left, did it stop straight? And when I did this test during the test, it stopped straight, and all was well.
Okay.
So technically now there really isn't anything left to check. The other things we would do would be to take our logbook. You don't have to show this to the tester, but we take our logbook, write down the mileage before we leave for a trip, and that would pretty much be the extent of it. When the people come on the bus, we give them a little idea of what emergency exits are, and make sure that they know to stay seated and keep the aisle clean. We want to make sure we tell passengers not to put any items in the walkway at any time in case you have to exit the bus in an emergency. So now to turn the bus off, I told you before that you can turn the key off.
Take it out.
It keeps running. So, one, we want to make sure we turn the lights off, and then we'll pull out the fuel stop, and that's how this bus shuts off.
Okay. And then when it's parked, you leave it open, the fuel line.
Yep, you can leave it open
just
or closed
to shut it off
because it's mechanical.
Okay.
If it was, it basically wouldn't. It'll only move fuel through if the engine's turning over. So there's no worry there. And on our pre-trip, I didn't talk about you have to grab the belt.
Okay.
And you have to talk about how there's no rips or tears or frays, and then it's firmly bolted to the vehicle. So you gotta make sure you talk about that too. Probably missed some other things, but that's pretty much it for
Pretty comprehensive.
Pete Poley Bus Check Productions Incorporated.